2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready.
Down, turn it down. I'm thanking everybody that's here tonight, but I also want to thank those that are catching us on social media and those that hit us up on the email, they give us texts, because I want you to know something. Straight Talk TV, the show that cares about you, do not take that for granted. We appreciate everyone that's here tonight, sitting in these seats. We appreciate everybody that's watching us on social media. It's a blessing. We don't take it for granted. We honor you, we appreciate you. I just always want to get that out to everybody. Okay, quote unquote, Black History, Asiatic, African American Month, but Dr. Harris is in the house, and what we're going to be doing each month, we are going to be doing a spotlight on history. So I have already spoken to the audience here, and I'm speaking to you out in viewing land. If you know someone or yourself, you want to share some history that has happened, it could be here in the state, or it could be out of the state, get in touch with us, Dr. Harris. We're going to put that together because we're going to do this every month, okay? So we've been blessed with a young lady that had the opportunity to sing at the Trailblazers. And she's going to bless us with the Black National Anthem. So at this time, I ask everyone, please stand for the Black National Anthem. Yes, yes.
Is won. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought. Facing the rising sun, about a day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is won, is won, is won.
Oh my goodness, go ahead. Praise on that. I'm trying to tell. Yes. But now, we got a young man. Come on up here. This is her husband. Come on up here, Steve McCoy. Come on up here. Yes. Y'all blessed us. I got a few words. Man, what is it like to have that powerful voice around the house all the time?
It's amazing, man.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I see you on the keyboard too. How do you feel him back on that keyboard back in your?
I love it. I have my personal keyboard player. What?
That's a beautiful thing, huh?
Yes.
That's a beautiful thing. Well, you know, we're honored that you blessed us with it, and I understand you're gonna come back and bless us with another song. They're gonna come back and bless us with another song. Give them a clap, praise, and we're gonna go real quick. We're gonna come back with Dr. Joseph. Turn it down. Okay, we got Dr. Joyce Harris. I'll give Dr. Joyce Harris a clap praise. We can use this one right here.
Oh, great.
Okay. You want to sit down?
No.
Okay. She got a nice, beautiful presentation for us, and another lady's going to be joining us too. Yeah, you on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you on.
So hi. So I need to. This brother here, he has anointed me.
I received that. I received that. Yeah, there's power. Yeah.
Last time I was here, I told him I've done everything for my doctorate except finish. Put that final dot on that last sentence. He said, "I don't care. To our community, you a doctor."
That's right.
And I'm gonna call you doctor.
That's right. That's
I
right.
told him, I said, when I do have the big party, I don't want people to say, "Well, wait a minute. I thought you had done this 20 years ago."
Right.
But anyway,
Yes, go ahead.
You know, then I thought about it. You know, these other folks, they give people doctorates.
That's right. That's right. There it is.
They don't set foot in the class.
Doctor! Come on up, Ebony. Y'all can share this together. Y'all can share together.
So what I wanted to do, Black History Month is real important to me because we have a history that goes back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And it's important that our young people know this history. You know, more and more I'm running into young people who they say, I don't know my history. And, you know, we get upset with the schools for not teaching the history. But I'm here to tell you today that it's on us. We need to teach our children the history. And we need to take advantage of every opportunity so they can learn this history. So yesterday, I was at the North Portland Branch Library, and the sister here, Ebony Bell, she organized a tribute to Toni Morrison, one of our eminent authors. And I've known Ebony forever. And I said, "What you doing tomorrow about 6 o'clock?" And so that's why she's here. She's going to do a little presentation on the life and legacy of Toni Morrison. But in the meantime, I just gathered some things because I think it's important that we know what opportunities are out there that we need to take advantage of to teach our children. So I have two little granddaughters, a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And, you know, they've been learning history since they came into this world. When King Tut exhibit was here, I said, "You know, Grandma's been to Egypt." And they were like, "What?" And I showed them pictures. I said, "As a matter of fact, I took your mama with me." And so they know Egypt. They know King Tut. They know Queen Nefertiti. They know a lot about Egypt. They also know about some of our heroes and heroines, and I'm always looking for ways to reinforce that. So a couple of months ago, my daughter called and said, "Mom, guess what? I was online, and guess what I found? A doll, a Rosa Parks doll." Yeah. Now, you know, I know we got issues sometimes with Barbie. Sometimes they don't color us right, but they got it right on this one. And I actually asked my 6-year-old if she would come on the show today. And she said, "Real TV, Grandma?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Do I have to talk?" I said, "Yeah, you can talk about Rosa." And she thought about it. And she said, no. So she'll watch it on TV. But this is incredible because we can use this to reinforce the life, the legacy, and the history of Rosa Parks. And when I talked to my little ones about Rosa, they got very upset when they found out that there were only certain places in the bus that black people could sit on. Their first thing was, "Grandma, that's not fair." And then they got really upset when I told them that Rosa Parks had been taken off the bus by the police and arrested. So they know the Rosa Parks story. And then, of course, I had to keep going and talk about boycotts and Martin Luther King. So they know that history. 4 years old and 6 years old. Next doll I found was Katherine Johnson. Did any of you go see that movie Hidden Figures? This is Katherine Johnson. They referred to her as the human computer. As a matter of fact, even when they got to the point where they could do it electronically, they would run the numbers by her. She was brilliant, a mathematician. And so this is something else that the girls, and of course, you know, I bought these dolls for them too. These actually are mine. Yeah, we had to get that clear. And this one here really fascinated me because can anybody tell me what happened in this state last year that hadn't happened ever before? Honorable Oregon Supreme Court Justice Adrian Nelson. When I saw this doll, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is perfect. And I took the girls with me to go to the groundbreaking because they're naming a high school after her out in Clackamas. And she was there, Judge Nelson was there, as was Judge Yolanda Watkins. And when we left, the little ones would say, Grandma, both of them are judges? I said, yes, they are. So this is how we connect our children to history and culture. So I said, well, you know, if I go up in here, I can't just go up in there with sister dolls. And unfortunately, I mean, I think there was a Jackie Robinson doll, but I don't have it here with me. But I found this other one the other day because when we talk about teaching our children about identity and inspiring them to be whatever they want to be, I ran across this brother.
Anybody know who that is? Just a question. Anybody?
It's nobody we know.
Bring it up a little.
Except
little
it
lighter,
could be.
where they can see it.
It could be him. It could be him. You know how many black firefighters?
They want you to stand. Huh? Yeah, come on.
Well, what was I?
There ain't
Just a
no right or
fire-
wrong answer.
Well, it could be any
Yes.
African American person in jobs like that.
And we now
It can
know
be anything.
that it could be a sister because
That's correct.
the head of our fire department, Chief Sarah Boone, right? Okay. So what I sometimes do with my little ones, if I find a doll that has a career and the doll don't look like my grandbabies, I will buy a black doll and take the clothes off and change them. I mean, those are the things that, yeah. Had you ever thought about that?
Okay, hold on. That's
Yeah.
a comment. I want to get the comments. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've thought about that. I've actually done that before.
Yes.
And I changed the clothes. I actually made the clothes myself and
Yeah.
dressed her up how I wanted to dress her up. But I did have a question. I wanted to know where to purchase the dolls.
Okay, well, this one here, the Rosa Parks one, I think you could go online. The store that was selling it, they only had 3 left. And of course, she was on clearance. Can you believe Rosa Parks on clearance? And my daughter said, well, Mom, she said, I know you want me to get all 3 of them. That's right. I said, because I got to have one, and the 2 little ones got to have theirs. The same thing with these. And you go online, as a matter of fact, a friend of mine just sent me a link to Barbie Black History dolls or something like that. But you have to you got to buy them when you see them. You know why? Because other people are buying them, and after they're gone, you're going to pay $300-400 for them. Same thing, Ava DuVernay, the sister who was the producer of, she did Selma and what was 13. Well, they had a collectible doll of her, and it sold out in 2 days. And now, if you find it, you're going to pay $500 or $600 for it. There are people who are serious collectors, and they don't look like us, but they know the value of these dolls. So let me just move on real quickly. So some other things that I like to share with people. One of the ways that you can teach your children about Black history is through stamps. So the only one I could put, there's a Rosa Parks stamp. The one that's out now is Gregory Hines. And then this one I love, Marvin Gaye. I love the Marvin Gaye. And what I do, I buy the whole plate and then I frame them. So I've got one framed plate of all the Malcolm X stamps. The other thing about these, on the back, and the artist is one of my favorite, Kadir Nelson. So you get artistry in here. You can teach them about the artists, and you can teach them about the great Marvin Gaye. Some books, new books that have just come out. This one here is wonderful. It's called Brave Black First. 50 African American women who changed the world. And I'm trying to think. I may have gotten that at Costco. And I know I got this one at Costco because it still got the tag on it. The Fierce 44, Black Americans Who Shook Up the World. Now, isn't that a heck of a title?
That's powerful.
Ebony Bell.
Ebony Bell. Give a clap praise for Ebony Bell.
I don't mind being confused with Miss
And a clap praise
Houston.
for Dr. Joyce Harris. Yes. She's going to be coming back. Like I said, she's going to be coming back each month. And so this is going to continue, okay? That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do right there. Okay.
Dr. Harris had invited me to speak because yesterday at the North Portland Library, the branch that we all know as the Killingsworth Library, we had a tribute to Toni Morrison. And when she said, "Are you free tomorrow at 5:30?" I said, yes, because for me, there is no amount of time that is too short to mention Toni Morrison's name. And so yesterday I had put together the tribute. I invited Mitchell Jackson and Mike Crenshaw and Walida Imarisha to speak. And then we saw the documentary, The Pieces That I Am. And I just wanted to welcome the community, not just to honor Toni Morrison, but also to learn something about her if you didn't know. Because not everybody is reading novels by Toni Morrison. Everybody's not reading Beloved. But we should know something about Toni Morrison. She passed away this past August. And we primarily think of her as an author, which she was. And in fact, the best author that we've had in the United States. But she was also, before that, an editor at Random House. And as an editor, she introduced us to all sorts of important works. She is responsible for publishing the autobiography of Muhammad Ali, for example. She's responsible for the publication of Huey P. Newton's autobiography. Also, Angela Davis's autobiography, The Black Book, Ivan Van Sertima's book, They Were Here Before Columbus, which explores the presence of African people in what we would come to call Central and South America. And this is long, long before any kind of European contact. So she leaves us a legacy not just of her works, which are amazing, but also this entire body of Afrocentric literature. Now, I hope that I'll get a chance to show you some of the slides that I put together for that presentation because, of course, a picture is worth 1,000 words. But if not, I could talk to you about Toni Morrison.
Oh, you will be back. Let's give her a clap prayer because she'll be back, right? I just want to let you know. You'll be back. Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can I ask Dr.
Absolutely.
Harris a question?
Absolutely.
This is a posed question. What other things can we do to help educate Black children?
We can do exactly what we're doing now. Dr. Asa Hilliard said one time, we can't teach our people what they don't know if we don't bring them together. So we've got to do a better job of bringing our children together and teaching them and taking them to things. There are free events that happen, and we have to take advantage of that. We have to introduce them to people. Like there were 3 young ladies at the thing yesterday, and I happened to know them, and I introduced them to Mitchell Jackson, who is an internationally known author who is from right here in Portland, Oregon. And then I told them who he was, and they just smiled. So we've got to do that. And
Dr.
then,
Harris, I have a question for you.
yeah.
Yes, please.
So I just wanted to know, to educate our children, I'm hearing like your thing you had at the North Library. These are things that I didn't know about, and I'm wondering how are we getting the word out on these events that are happening, and if there's a way that, like the dolls and the books and things, that we could just kind of advertise them a little more.
Thursday night, there was a free event on the 100th anniversary of the Negro Baseball League at Jefferson High School. They brought in the director of the Negro Baseball Museum out of Kansas City. There was a brother here, his name was Artie Wilson, who played in the Negro Leagues. He's now deceased, but they flew his son in, and they did an incredible panel. I also did a presentation because I do Negro Baseball League lessons for the Full Count Baseball program. So there are things you got to look for them.
Okay.
You have to go online, but
Yes.
please go to your black newspapers.
Okay.
Listen to KBMS. They advertise particularly the free events.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
There you go. You got any more questions? Okay, right. Let's give both of these ladies a clap praise.
Thank you.
Yes. We're going to come back. We're going to go to a break. They're definitely coming back because we're going to be doing this every month. And Straight Talk is the show that cares about you, but the information comes from the people to the people. And we got some information getting ready to come to you, and it's in the form of music. Down. Turn it down. And Kenny, how you guys, while we're getting set up, how'd you guys hook up?
I don't know, it's just magic, I guess.
All right, there it is. There's magic. Okay. So what you guys going now? From my understanding, this song here is off of your first album that's coming out. It's the first single that you're going to drop.
Yes, sir.
Kind of tell us a little bit about it.
The song?
Yeah.
All right, well, see, this song actually has some interesting roots behind it. So when I was 9 years old, my cousin and I worked on a song called I'm the Man. And so it was a big hit with my family. We all loved it and stuff. And so once me and Kenny got together, we started working on music. I was like, you know what? I kind of want to bring this back. I kind of want to revamp it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of like the history and the background behind that.
Well, how do you bring Kenny G on? Or Kenny OG on? How did you get involved?
He just needed some heat on the track, so I was like, you know.
He said he just needed some heat. Well, y'all go ahead and get set up. Go where you can put your heat out. Yeah, go ahead and get set up. Would you need the mic?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And then, okay, you need.
Are ready for this? All right, let's go. It's your boy Ozzy.
And Kenny OG.
Look, check it out. I'm so cool, I'm so nice. You do it once, I do it twice. I'm the man, yes I am. Let's give this one more shot. Hey, look, Ozzy on the track, you know I'm the man. I can do it better than he can. You're a fan, I already know you got me in your plans. We go together better than peanut butter and jam. Cause I'm so nice. Yo, you do it once, I do it twice. You know I can treat you right. Cause I'm that guy. Hey, listen, you know I'll make him disappear like a magician. You 1 in a million, don't get it twisted. I'm in it to win it, I'll finish him. If you really wanna get it, girl, I see you killing it with the intricate lyrics. Yeah, I am a winner, and you know I always deliver. My flow scary like Thriller. I got with this track of the dinner. I'm the man. I can do it better than those other guys can. Cause I'm the man, baby girl. I'm the man. I'm the man. I can do it better than those other guys can. Cause I'm the man. Y'all know why? This is why. I'm so cool, I'm so nice. You do it once, I do it twice. I'm the man, yes I am. I'm the man. Okay. I'm so cool, I'm so nice. You do it once, I do it twice. I'm the man, yes I am. Take it away, Kenny, yo.
Yeah, hey, I'm the man. I already know you're my #1 fan, yeah. You've been cheering me on from the stands. Cause I can do things that these other guys can't. I just stole your heart and didn't even try. Girl, I'm the man, I can show you a couple reasons why. Don't be afraid to come up to me, don't be acting shy. I'm not like these other snakes, I'll never bite. All these other guys, yeah, they're so bland. Why settle for these boys? Can be with the man. The haters keep hating, they trying to knock me out the picture. But when it comes to me, there's no erasing. Just face it, I am the man, there's no replacing. All of those other guys copy and pasted. Let's go and make up the time that we wasted.
I'm so cool, I'm so nice. You do it once, I do it twice. I'm the man, yes I am. I'm the man.
I'm so cool, I'm so nice.
You do it once, I do it twice. Yes I am. I'm the man. Look, I'm so cool, I'm so nice. You do it once, I do it twice. I'm the man, yes I am. I'm the man. Look,
I'm so cool, I'm so nice. You do it once, I do it twice.
I'm the man, yes I am.
man. I'm so cool, I'm so nice. You do once, I do twice.
Yes, I am.
I'm the man,
Man, I'm so cool, I'm so nice.
You do once, I do twice.
Oh, I'm the man. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
That's some heat, that's some heat, that's some heat. Hey, come here. As my brother James Brown used to say, we gonna get a drummer song. Okay? Yeah. Tell us a little bit who you are.
So my name is Jordan Frazier, and I'm 10 years old, and I'm in 4th grade.
Fourth grade. Go ahead, you can play this drum for us. Yeah. Go ahead and do your thing. Go ahead. Yeah. You're the man. Oh, that's beautiful. You know what? I want you to walk out here with me because there's some people out here. Cameras, please catch it. There's some people out here that made this possible. If they don't mind standing up right now, I got the matriarch of the family. I got the young princess in the family. And I got the monarch in the family. Y'all please stand up. Give them a clap, please. They made this possible. Where the cameras? Cameras, one of those cameras get a shot of this family. We good? We got you? You good? Okay, which way you want us to go? You good right there? I just got to ask the question. What does it feel like to have all this talent, musical talent up in the house?
Loud.
No, no. She said loud.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
We just watering plants.
Just-
That's all we doing is
right.
watering the plants.
Right,
That's
right,
what we
right.
do.
Now, my understanding, you play a little something too. What you play?
I play the flute and the piano.
Oh my goodness! So, you know, we're doing History Month every month now. So you got a spot next month or the month after, if you love to come back and just do your flute and your piano. We love that. Give this family a clap, praise. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, when we come back, down, turn it down. Charles Rouse Jr. His father is Charles Rouse Sr., the renowned jazz player. So let's give him a clap, praise. Yeah. Yes. And I know you've probably been asked this question, but I'm gonna start right off with this question. What was it like to be in the midst of that giant?
Well, you know, growing up, you know, I was around like many of his peers, you know, Miles Davis, Coltrane, Thelonious Monk, Art Blakey, Johnny Griffith, you know, all of the greats at that time during that era of the 60s, that bebop era. And my mother was the original dancer in the Cotton Club in Savoy with Lita Horn.
Oh my goodness.
And so I, being the only child, you know, I had to be there whether I wanted to or not.
Right,
you know?
right.
So I was feeling vibrations and energies that I didn't know what was happening subliminally, but I was absorbing them, and I started to get interested in the music business, and I started playing drums. A little older than that young man, I think.
Right. That was kind of like a flashback for you, huh?
He's at the right age, and I started studying when I was about six years old with Max Roach and a lot of the great jazz musicians.
Right. Now, when did you really, I know you did, but when did you realize that you was in the midst of all this greatness?
Probably about 45 years later.
Right.
You know, I grew up and, you know, my parents was like any other parents. They were just my parents, you know. They took me bike riding and fishing and all that type stuff. But, you know, I really didn't know what they were involved into and what they were contributing to the world until much, much later when I decided to become a professional.
Okay.
I started doing my homework. I didn't do too much in high school, so I started studying real strongly about what I was getting into, and ironically, my mom and dad popped up. You know?
Okay, right. So we got a few clips of his dad. When you get a chance to, back in the studio there, to pull up some of those clips, so we kind of talk a little bit about when those clips pop up. But you said 44 years later, but I want to take a little journey with you. You know, they taking you to the clubs or to the sets back then, and you sitting around as a young man. What was that like?
Well, you know, I was 6, 7 years old, and you know, I had to stay back in the dressing rooms, and the Rothschild, the jazz baroness, used to babysit me.
Right.
And you know, again, you know, they was just my father's friends. They just, you know, they was playing funny instruments, and they was talking funny and acting funny.
Right.
So, you know, I just thought that everything was normal.
Right.
You know, but as time went on, again, you know, I mean, I sat around Monk. My father was with Monk for a decade and a half.
Oh my goodness.
He was with Thelonious from 1959 to early 1970s.
Now, did he ever tell you about what was that like, Mr. Monk teaching him how to play an instrument, or driving him? Hey, you ain't hit that note right enough. You need to do something different.
No, Monk, Dad used to tell me that Thelonious was a musician.
Okay, now share with us what that means.
Well, basically, a musician is just what it is.
Okay.
He's a musician. There's no compromise.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's not a want, it's a need. And you know, Thelonious was the type of guy. You know, he handpicked all his musicians.
Oh my goodness.
So he knew what he wanted to hear.
Right.
He knew what you know, he was a teacher to many of the jazz greats. John Coltrane was in his band.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Sonny Rollins was in his band.
Right.
My father was the longest run of saxophonists. Johnny Griffin was in his band. And, you know, Thelonious was he was the type of musician where he would challenge you. You know, he wouldn't say things to you like, you should be able to do this, or why don't you do this? You know, he would just say, this is what I want in my music, and this is what I want to hear, and go play it. You know, it wasn't anything in his head that you couldn't be able to express from that instrument if you really connected with it. You know, so, you know.
Did your dad ever talk about to you, I'm just tired of this sax, I'm putting it down?
No, that wasn't happening.
That wasn't happening.
When I grew up, my father's horn never was in the case.
Okay.
When it was at home, it was in a music stand, sitting somewhere in the house.
Right.
Because he believes that you had to truly be able to connect with your instrument in order to be able to truly express yourself.
Right.
An instrument is an extension of you. So the closer you get, the more you'll be able to express yourself. So, you know, the less you keep it in your mouth, the less you can play.
Exactly. Right.
So that was his philosophy of how he looked at the instrument, you know, in reference to what his individuality wanted to be, to express, you know.
Right.
So, you know, it was funny. I mean, you know, a lot of times people say, well, you know, your father's in the music business, it should be easy. It was the opposite.
It's the opposite.
Because
share a little bit why it was the opposite.
Well, you know, he respected the art so highly that, again, there was no compromise, whether I was his son or not.
Okay.
You had to learn how to play it right. And if you create bad habits, you got to sacrifice and go back and correct it. It's a lifelong journey to learn and to grow and to truly try to express yourself. There's a process of development that you have to go through, and you have to, you know, you have to bump your head,
right?
You know, and but again, you know, he was the type of guy where, you know, he knew if he wanted it. You know, I wasn't a superhuman guy. If I wanted it, I would bump my head. I would get what I need to get.
Right.
And you know, he wasn't giving up anything in reference to that. So, you know, I mean, he was the type of father, you know, he started studying. I started studying when I was 6. He didn't hear me play until I was 17.
My goodness.
You know, but he put me in the element of his peers that if I was capable, I would receive what I needed.
Right.
It was on me to
right.
take it and do what I needed to do. So he gave me some time, you know. He gave me some time.
Let you develop a little bit of something. Was that the process?
Well, you know, he didn't want to hear how I felt about it. He wanted his peers to tell him whether I had it or not, or I had the possibility. You know, that's what he was basing it on. Forget what I was saying. I was young and
right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, Dad, I got it. You know what I mean? He wasn't going for that, you know.
Right.
So again, you know, as much as it's perceived that, you know, being in the business as your parents are, whatever, that it's easy, sometimes, and most of the time, it's not as easy as they think, because your parents, being your parents, they want the best for you, and they want you to be the best you can be. And if you're in the same field that they are, they know the road you got to go down. Right. They know what you have to do. They know what is going to come before you. And they're going to prepare you best as they can. Again, you can't cheat on them because they know the ropes.
They know it, right?
And you know, I've tried a few games.
Right? Did you try some?
And
you want to share one of the ones? You want to share one of them?
Well,
I told you I might get personal. He said, "Go ahead."
well, I worked many years with this organist, Charles Erlin.
Okay.
And George Benson, and we had just finished like a 30-nighter on the road, right. And I ended up in Milwaukee, Illinois, actually at the Bud Fest, and I was tired, man.
Tired,
You know, we was
yeah.
doing those one-nighters. I was
Mhm.
tired. I got in very late at night. I got in the hotel room, and the road manager just say sound check 10 o'clock in the morning. You know, I'm mumbling. He knocks on the door at 9 in the morning, say, bus is leaving in about 15 minutes, and I'm not ready for it.
You ain't ready.
I'm not ready, man. You know, I was in my mid-20s, I think.
Right,
and,
right.
So I said, man, if anybody can get me out of this, my old man can get
Right.
me out of it. He's got to have some answers for this.
Right.
So I called back to New York, and I called my father, and I said, Dad, he says, what's going on, son? I said, man, I just did like 30 nights. I'm tired, man. You know what I mean? I have to go on and do a sound check, and I'm tired. The phone was silent. He didn't say anything. He says, and so I'm saying, you know, so what do I do? He said, son, you got 3 options. He said, one thing we know you're gonna do, you're gonna have to work. That's one thing we know. He said, now the other 2 is your choice. You can either do what you love to do and work, or you can do what you don't love to do and work.
Gotcha.
So at that point, I just said, and hung the phone up on him.
Right.
Went in the shower, took the shower, and got on the bus to do a
Right.
sound check.
Right, right.
He let me know very definitively that if this is what you want to do, then there's no easy way, buddy.
No easy way,
you know,
yeah.
so I mean, you know, there's many little stories like that. You know, that being young and stuff that I felt that maybe I could get around or I could make it a little easier.
Right, right.
But no, that's the route I have to go and the life I chose. And unfortunately, I'm following them, so I can't trick them.
Right,
you know,
right.
I've tried and it doesn't work. Not in that game, you know.
Right.
So
It didn't work.
no, every time I try, it doesn't work. You
Now,
know.
when did you pick up your first? Because you're a drummer, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What made you go from the drummer because your dad's a saxophone, right?
Tenor
sax, and you went into the drum.
Yes. Well, again, like I said, my father's sax never was in the case.
Okay.
So again, you know, I was young. He would be in the bathroom or something,
Right.
and I would sneak over to the horn and I would try to blow the horn.
Right.
But I didn't know that you had to vibrate the reed. I thought you just had to blow into it.
Right.
So after 3 or 4 times, I got frustrated. I
Right,
don't want to play
right.
the saxophone. I don't want to play saxophone.
Something's wrong with this.
I don't,
It ain't working like it.
I don't like that, you know. So I used to go to the Village Vanguard in New York, which is a very historical jazz club down in the Village. And 1 month I was there. I was sitting behind Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers with Lee
You got some
Morgan
heavyweights,
and
huh?
Clifford.
My
Clifford
goodness.
And then the next night, you know, I'm sitting behind Elvin Jones and John Coltrane. And I'm sitting in the corner.
audience said, "Oh, so they feeling it." You brought some giants. Okay.
And the way the Vanguard is set up, you know, because I was young, I couldn't be out where they were smoking and drinking. So
Right.
there was this little black spot that they would sit me in behind the stage, which would be right behind the drummers.
Okay.
And I'd be sitting behind Max and you know, Miles and young Tony, and I was like 6 or 7 years old, and just one night, you know, I was sitting behind Elvin, and he's about as close as you are to me, and he was sweating, man. Him and Elvin and Train, and I guess it was one of those nights, and I just looked at him, man, and I just said, man, this cat's having fun.
Fun, right.
You know, I mean, you know, I'm young, man,
Right.
energized. He's throwing sticks and he's sweating. And I said, wow, man, that looks like fun, right?
Right.
So night was over, and I went up to Dad when he went backstage, and I said, Dad, I didn't even say I wanted to play drums. I said, Dad, I want to do that.
Right there.
You know what I mean? Because I was
right.
6 or 7, and so that was the beginning of the nip.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I got bit after I sat behind Blakey.
Oh my
And
goodness.
he, you know, he would drive me in the corner. You know, I'd be behind him, and my head would be, you know, and he's pushing, man.
Right, right.
And so, you know, and he gave me my first ride cymbal. You know, I mean,
Okay.
once they my dad let him know I was interested in drums. You know, again, you know, I was like, you know, Dizzy would pat me on the head. I mean, it would be little Rouse, you know.
Right.
They was friends and
Right,
stuff, you know, and
right,
so,
right.
but, you know, you know, it was all subliminal, man. It didn't hit me until years later when I was playing in certain elements. Things would come to the forefront, and I'd be like, wow, that's what I was hearing. Or I would be in one of my lectures at the colleges or schools with the kids, and I'd be like, wow, that's what he was saying. You know, so, you know, the longer I stay into it, the more stuff comes to the forefront that I grew up in. And again, you know, I mean, like I said, I had an adventure with Monk that was just, you know, at a young age, you know, I mean, we always lived together. You know, when we were in the village, we lived on the first floor. Thelonious family lived on the second floor. When we moved to Lincoln Center, we were on the 17th. Thelonious was on the 20th.
Right.
So for all those years, my father was with him.
Right. Always close.
Our families were always close, so we would go. They would send us to camp, and we King Curtis's kids, all the musicians' kids would be there. So it was always, you know, it was like the mafia. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
right.
You know,
Tight.
Yeah. So.
I don't know how long you're gonna be in town because I know you're doing this tour for your dad. But like I said earlier, each month we're gonna be doing some on our history. So we hope you will bless us again because we can just continue. Go ahead.
I'm coming back. Actually, the reason I'm here is you have a really native gentleman here that works with me in the team, O'Meal.
Okay.
He's a Portland native guy, and we've been collaborating for the last couple months. And my father was passed away in his late, you know, the later part of his life. He passed away here in 1988.
Okay.
And we have been collaborating, and he felt that this would be something really strong and close to me to establish some type of our company's the Rouse legacy, which is a legacy of expressing music, you know, education to the youth, producing some festivals. So we're in town now, and we're looking for some sites. We're going to probably do some Rouse in the Park festival, jazz festivals, and maybe look into maybe bringing in you know, a jazz and blues club, because I have two on the East Coast. So
That's
and
beautiful.
then I mean, I went into this Madison school, man, and those kids just blew me away, man. I mean, it's really funny in this time and age to see kids who are being, you know, how could I say, intimidated by their peer pressure, and to see young kids to be able to understand that, you know, the roots that they came from at such a young age, and being able to sacrifice to go back and to learn that type of music, you know, would just gas me out. And then, but it's obvious, man, because I went to, they invited us to this Blue Note thing, and at the end of the 90-minute clip, after they went through all of the Blue Note artists, Lou Donaldson, I mean, all the history, it came all the way up to the present, and the hip-hop cats said, look, this is where we're getting it from. The 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They respect.
You know what I mean? We may not be emulating it note for note, but we're borrowing some of this, we're borrowing some of that, and we're borrowing some of this, and we're mixing it with the present of what we're doing, and this is what they're coming up with. So it just lets me know, you know, more than ever, that as much as they try to bury and hide and destroy, you know, our art form, which is America's classical music, which is jazz. The more they try to do that, the stronger it gets.
Beautiful.
You know, because as these generations go on, they know in order to really sustain and to move forward, they got to understand where they came from, what's going on, and so they have to go back. They have to, and it's there for them.
Well, let's straight talk. No, let's straight talk. But before we go, this young man playing that drums, and we got a couple other musicians. A little shout out to them, a little word of advice as they traveling through their journey as musicians, and the ones in social media too. Looking.
All I can say is, like, if you love it And if you feel it inside, which you're really, really the only one that can, don't compromise. Don't compromise. Always keep the power. And the power is being humble, have humility, and establish confidence in yourself that you can do whatever you want to do. And you'll be just fine.
You'll be fine. Yeah. And before we go, there's two gentlemen I want to give a shout out for that was responsible, gave me a call, hit me up and said, hey, this gentleman's in town. Would you like to interview him? I'll be honored. Jermaine, come on up here. Come on, he's working that camera right now, but come on. He's just blessing us with that talent right there. And there's another young man that travels with you.
Yeah.
Please come on up and just give a clap praise for these gentlemen because they're making it happen. About what these two gentlemen do with you. Well, and before we go.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't for these two gentlemen, I wouldn't be here in Portland, Oregon at this present moment.
Right.
They a little younger than me. You know, I'm in my I'm in my mid 60s. But one thing I really admired about them is the strength and the belief and the sacrifices at this point in time in their life to learn who they are, where they came from, what is their purpose,
right?
You know, what is home, what you know, and because that's very close to me, and they said, hey Chico, we want you to come to Portland, and hey, they had more information on me than I had on me.
Right.
To give me the reason to come to Portland, and I have to say that at this point in my team, not only that anything that I travel around the country or the world that I have to deal with, besides that, they're the point guys who deal with anything that I do anywhere I go now. It's just not Portland, because it's not only that I respect and I understand who they are, just being here in Portland, they're that 24/7.
Oh, okay,
and,
beautiful.
And that's what I need around me in order to be able to be effective for what I do, you know, and so.
I'm gonna grab a mic because I want to get a couple of words from the guys, and then we're gonna go to our last song here. But I just want I want you to share a little bit. What is that like, man, traveling with this giant? Jermaine. What is it like, Jermaine? We're going to get to you because you were with him too. What is it like, man?
You know, it's been
we appreciate you giving that call to Straight Talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure going through the city, seeing kind of his steps and his father's steps and where he's come from. And we've met some people that have actually played with his father. We met a gentleman that has his father's mouthpiece, his sax strap. We also met a gentleman that played in his club in New York. So it's been really walking history, live history, hanging out with him this past week here in Portland. And all I have to say is stay tuned, Portland. There's more to come with the Rouse legacy. And just stay tuned and thank you. And we definitely will include Straight Talk.
Oh, we'd be honored. Come on, drop a few bars on us. Yes. Yeah. Sure.
I mean, it's always sweet to come home, but to come home with a member of jazz royalty. See, jazz is I call it the gift of the have-nots. You got to go through something in order to be able to have this rich type of expression. And again, piggybacking off of what Chico was saying, to walk into Madison High School and see young people who were born in 2004, 2005, playing around midnight and rocking and swinging, we were taken aback. Like, his father was born 100 years ago. And there's a richness in our struggle, and it's something that is timeless. And in order to tap into your resilience and strength, you got to go back to your history and your culture. There's a direct connection between your culture and your history and your strength and resilience. Sometimes when the words fail, all we can do is play it on out. And that was like the essence of what I got. They put Duke Ellington on the quarter for a reason. Like, our culture is our export around the world. Even though we might not appreciate it, the world looks to us to add that flavor. It'd be a dry place without our thing, and we got to celebrate that. It's a sad dog who won't wag its own tail. So I'm here rocking, and this is home, so it's very sweet. It's very
you
sweet.
see why I gotta have this guy on my team?
Yeah, appreciate it. Give a clap praise for both of them. All of them. Much love. Appreciate you. Yeah.
I mean,
Go ahead, sir.
You know, it's funny. This is Straight Talk. Right?
Straight Talk,
Okay.
the show that cares about you.
I just want to it's great because again, one of our internal structures is labeled the circle of trust.
Okay.
And what that means is exactly what it means. My managers say, "Oh, Chico, that doesn't have a good hook to it. Commercial, that doesn't. That's the purpose of it."
Okay.
My father told me when I was young and I was growing up. He says we were walking down Broadway, and he says to me one day, he says, "Chico," and I don't know where this came from. Matter of fact, I don't know what we were talking about. He just said, "Chico, you know something? When commercialism blends with the purism, we're gonna have a problem."
Right.
And I'm 16, 17 years old. I'm looking at him like he's crazy. What are you talking about?
Right.
Again, 15, 20 years later,
Right.
I'm like, somewhere, I'm like, bingo, okay. And so when I was speaking to my manager, I said, the structure and the purpose of Circle of Trust, has nothing to do with this commercial. It has nothing to do with that. Right. And he said to me, when I was saying, I want to do this, I want to do that, he says, "Chico, if you learn your basics, everything will come.
Everything will come.
If you get it, everything will come. Forget about what you want to do, because it's all going to happen."
Right.
And so, in that sense, I trusted him in that circle of my family. So, again, the Rouse legacy is like a vehicle.
Right.
Everybody in the car is in the circle of trust.
Okay.
So whoever wants to go to sleep can go to sleep, because who's ever at the wheel, we're safe. Everything's good. We're gonna make that destination that we're going to.
Well, we certainly appreciate
And,
you here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Charlie
Thank
Rouse,
you.
senior.
Thank you, Junior.
Let's Junior. Jermaine. Emil. Much love to all of you. Straight Talkers here. Let us know what we can do. We're going to close out the show. Miss Johanna's going to bless us with another gift. And everybody on social media, remember, Straight Talk is the show that cares about you. And you saw where the information comes from the people to the people. We thank you. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening, day, and love on each other. And keep that jazz and hope and history alive, okay? Miss Johanna, go ahead. Man, I appreciate you, man. You gotta come back.
By faith and not by sight, and we put all our trust in thee, standing on God's word toward us, and unfailing love towards me. For he watches over the sparrows, so how much more he cares for me. If you would just believe, have faith, then you'll receive. Oh, if you would just believe, then will you see from me? I believe with my whole heart. I believe that if you walk by faith and not by sight, and you put all your trust in me, standing on God's word to warn us, and unfailing love towards me. For He watches over the sparrows. How much more He cares for me. If you would just believe, have faith, then you'll receive. Oh, if you would just believe, then will you see from with my whole heart, I believe. Said I receive all God's promises. I receive. Said I believe. With my whole heart, said I believe. Said I receive everything He promised me. Yeah, His promises never fail. His word won't let you down. I believe, oh, I believe, yeah. Yes, God, His word, oh, I believe. Say His promises, my God's word, whoa, it won't let you down, it won't let you down. Say, I believe, yeah, in everything He promised me. Would just believe, have faith, then you receive.
Yes. Thank you. Oh, yeah.